Welcome. This is an introduction to 84,000 Translating the Words of the Buddha, a global nonprofit initiative. The significance of the number in our name is that the Buddha is said to have taught 84,000 ways to achieve peace and freedom from suffering. Many precious cultural and religious sites and artifacts are recognized as part of our world heritage. Sadly, many fall prey to human and natural threats. As with the destruction of the Bamayan Buddhas, their loss is tragic and a loss to all of humanity. Sometimes what is lost is something more intangible, but equally precious: knowledge. With the destruction of the ancient library of Alexandria, for example, an inconceivable treasury of wisdom was lost from the world forever. How might history have been different if it had not been lost? If we knew another such irreplaceable treasury of wisdom was at risk today, what would we do about it? The mission of 84,000 is to translate the words of the Buddha and make them available to everyone. The Tibetan canon, which consists of the Kanjur, the actual words of the Buddha, and the Tenjur, the ancient Indian commentaries, forms the largest surviving collection of Buddhist texts. It is an entire library of texts about the science of mind, human ethics, peace, and compassion. At the time we launched our undertaking, only 5% of the vast Tibetan canon had been translated into modern languages. The number of people who can accurately interpret them is dwindling, with the very real risk that they could be lost to the world forever. That is why Dzongzar Jamyang Khyentse Rinpoche and others had a sense of urgency to initiate an historic undertaking to translate the vast Tibetan canon into modern languages. In March 2009, Dzongzar Jamyang Khyentse Rinpoche tasked the Khyentse Foundation to convene a 5-day Translating the Words of the Buddha conference in India. More than 50 of the world's top translators, teachers, and academics came together to envision and co-create 100, 25, and 5-year goals for an enormous project. The conference culminated in a collective undertaking, and at the group's repeated request, Dzongzar Khyentse Rinpoche agreed to become the interim leader, with the Khyentse Foundation providing the initial infrastructure and fiscal oversight. In January 2010, the Buddhist Literary Heritage Project was formally established and began the work of actual translation. It was renamed 84,000 in 2011 and is scheduled to become an independent U.S. registered nonprofit organization by 2013, with Dzongzar Khyentse Rinpoche still at the helm. We are honored to have His Majesty the King of Bhutan and Her Royal Highness the Princess of Bhutan among our patrons. 84,000 has the endorsement of the heads of all the major schools and lineages of Tibetan Buddhism, as well as the active involvement of all the major Tibetan translation groups. The Buddha taught for 50 years after attaining enlightenment. The Kanjur, his teachings, consists of 1,169 texts containing 70,000 pages, The Tenger, the commentaries, consists of another 4,093 texts containing 161,800 pages. These texts have only survived until today because they were translated centuries ago into classical Tibetan prior to the massive destruction of Buddhist texts in Sanskrit and other Indic languages in India back in the 11th and 12th centuries. Now they need to be saved once again, this time by translation into the world's major modern languages and using modern technology to preserve them and make them widely available, an effort that will take approximately 100 years. Our first priority is translation into English. So far, 10,000 pages of translation have been commissioned through 3 rounds of grants made to 102 translators in 45 translator teams. Roughly half are teams from monasteries and Dharma centers, including the Sakya Pandita Translation Group, the Dharma Chakra Translation Committee, Padmakara Translation Group, and the Garchen Buddhist Institute. Most of the other half are teams from universities, including Oxford, Harvard, Columbia, and the University of California at Berkeley. The remaining teams are unaffiliated ones formed and led by skilled individual translators. A very informative and inspiring interview with one of our translators, Ina Bieler from the Garchen Buddhist Institute, can be found on our website at 84000.co. We stand on the shoulders of a giant, Dr. Gene Smith. His heroic effort to collect the source language texts and digitize them was featured in the recently released movie, Digital Dharma. We are using internet technology to make the translations widely available. Our first priority has been to develop a free public online reading room, which opened in early 2012 with the publication of 8 inaugural translations. We have been very pleased with the number of visitors since the opening. In the future, we also envision making the translated text available in ebook and audiobook formats, and to make print editions available as well. Over the next 100 years, who knows what else will be possible due to technological developments. The reading room is the result of a partnership between 84,000 and the Tibetan Buddhist Resource Center, which was founded by Dr. Smith. TBRC is the repository of the source texts our translators use, and it has developed a computer technology platform for the reading room that is secure and user-friendly. 84,000, for our part, is focused on content, on the translation, editorial, and publication process. The reading room's computer technology platform is durable and secure. It is based on open source software that makes it easier to adapt to inevitable future technology changes. For added security, the reading room resides on a website of its own, which can be accessed either via 84,000's website at 84000.co or directly from read.84000.co. Now let's take a very quick tour of the reading room. When you first enter the reading room, you will be in the lobby, which contains the titles and brief summaries of the 4 most recently published translations, as well as a featured translation chosen by our editorial committee, and the titles of all of the sections of the kanjur, with icons from the kanjur itself, and with numbers indicating the number of completed translations in each section. At the moment, you will find 6 completed English translations in the General Sutra section, and 2 in the Tantra collection. If you were to click on the General Sutra section, you would enter the section view, where you not only see the completed translations with icons and summaries, but also a list of translated titles of all of the yet-to-be translated texts in that section. Not even these titles had been translated into English before 84,000 undertook this task. Next, if you click on View Full Translation, you enter the translation view, where you find the title page, bibliographic information, the contents, the translator's introduction, the translation itself, endnotes, and source text. You turn the page forward or back by clicking on the arrows on the left and right sides. Under the Creative Commons copyright, the translations in our reading room may be copied or printed for fair and non-commercial, non-remunerative use, as long as there is full attribution. Key names and terms in the text are highlighted in blue and explained in an integrated glossary. The translation can be read online, or by clicking on Options, you may save the text as a PDF file and print it out. To complement the high-tech reading room, last May, 84,000 piloted a high-touch way for people to have an encounter with the words of the Buddha. 50 people gathered to read aloud the English translation of the first sutras to be published in the reading room. The Venerable Khenpo Khalsang and Reverend Chodron Kunga Chodron led the preliminary practices, the Resounding itself, which is a traditional non-unison reading of the sutras, and a closing dedication. On our website, you can find a brief sound clip from the Resounding, in which you can hear the buzzing orchestra of human voices reading different sutras at the same time and carrying the words of the Buddha out into the world. We are in a race against time as more and more of the Tibetan masters who can interpret the meaning of the teachings and work closely with translators are passing. We firmly believe that the words of the Buddha belong to all humanity and are an important world heritage to be preserved and treasured. There are several UNESCO programs which record and showcase cultural heritage. 84,000 believes that the translated words of the Buddha are a documentary heritage that belongs in UNESCO's Memory of the World Register. And the resounding of the texts, along with teachings on them by Tibetan masters, belong in UNESCO's Register of Intangible Cultural Properties. The Prime Minister of Bhutan agrees and has offered his offices to begin discussions with UNESCO. Our 2012 budget is just under $1.4 million, approximately $1.2 million of which is for program expenses, mainly grants to translators. 84,000's large team includes only 5 paid staff, just 2 of whom are full-time. We benefit from an exceptional amount of volunteer labor and pro bono professional services, which keep our admin expenses to only 6.2%. Well over 1,500 people have made donations to date. It is this combined generosity of time, talent, and money that make it possible for the translated words of the Buddha to appear on your computer screen. How can you help? First, please visit our website and make good use of the reading room. Subscribe to our e-news to receive notices about newly released translations. We are also very active and have a large following on Facebook and invite you to like our page and retweet our Twitter posts. Please consider sponsoring 1 or more pages of translation, or become one of only 108 founding sponsors who, with a gift of $50,000 or more, payable over up to 3 years, will be recognized in perpetuity for their early and generous seed funding. Up to 5 people may come together to make a founding sponsor gift. Donations can be made by check or online at 84,000.co. Thank you for your kind attention. We hope you have enjoyed learning about 84,000 and that you will become part of this historic effort.